If, like me, you spent many hours binging Invisalign videos before you got yours, then here's another one to binge. Hello everyone, if you don't know me, this is actually my second channel. My name is Kaylee and I actually run a houseplant channel on YouTube. But today, I'm not going to talk about plants. Today, I'm going to talk about my Invisalign. I'm wearing it right now. So by the fact you've stumbled across this video means that you probably already know what Invisalign is. But if you do not know what it is, Invisalign is essentially a clear, invisible, air quotes, brace that you wear on your teeth. It consists of a series of attachments, and basically the duration you can wear it from varies from person to person. So today I've had my Invisalign in since Tuesday. It's now Monday, so I've had it in almost 1 week. So today I want to talk to you about a few things. I want to tell you all about why I wanted Invisalign and what it is and what it does. I want to tell you about everything leading up to getting it and my experience of why I actually need it and my general plan. I want to show you what it will do because I actually have a simulation of what it's going to do to my teeth over time. That's really cool. If you haven't seen that, that's really cool. That is something that is provided by Invisalign as well. I'm going to give you my experience on getting it put in and basically almost a week of wear time. And it's a real shame that I'm not recording this maybe 3 days later because tray changing day is actually tomorrow. I wear mine weekly. So I would have been able to give you a little bit more information, but I think we've got enough in this video. I'm going to cover it pretty comprehensively. So I'm probably going to leave some timestamps here of different things you might want to skip to because I can just tell I have some notes in front of me. This video is going to be pretty long. So if you don't want to, know exactly what's up with my teeth, for example, if you don't care, if you just want to know about the experience of Invisalign, then you can skip to that part. So without further ado, let's just get straight into it. So Invisalign is a clear, sort of plastic brace or retainer that you have to wear for 22 hours a day, and you can only take it out to eat, which I will get into later, believe me, but that's essentially what it is. Some people wear it for 6 months. Some people have to wear it for 1.5 years. It really just depends on what your dentist tells you about what your teeth and what your treatment plan is. I heard before I got mine that whatever amount of time they tell you, it's going to end up being longer. I hear that a lot on these types of videos because believe me, I've watched pretty much every one there is. That didn't actually happen for me. My dentist told me 6 months, and so far, anyway, it would seem like it is going to be 6 months. I have 28 trays and I change them weekly, so do the math. Not only that, but you get a little attachments on your teeth, which I will go over later. That amount of attachments and the placement of attachments varies as well from person to person, depending on what you need done to your teeth. So I'd now like to talk about sort of the background on my teeth, why I'd like Invisalign, some of the weird and wonderful issues I have because I have an x-ray to show you and it's pretty intense. I'd like to talk a little bit about that and a little bit about the cost, that versus is it Smile Direct as well? It's another one that people decide to go for. And I want to talk about this because honestly, it is super relevant to a lot of what you're going to see up in here today. It really, really is. So, quick background on my teeth. I'm going to be honest with you. It sounds really negative, but it's honestly how I feel about my teeth. So, just take it as it is. I've kind of learned to live with it for a long time, but I know it's going to sound very negative. Since I've had teeth, I've hated them. And I know that is a really, really strong statement, but honestly, that's how I've always felt. So, I mean, I didn't notice my teeth, before being a teenager, but when I was a teenager, they came in and I've always had an issue, right? This is so weird. I've always had an issue with baby teeth not dropping out of my mouth. And you're about to find out today just how bad that issue was. But my baby teeth didn't really drop out when I was younger and I had to have teeth removed, which obviously sucks. So I always had an issue of like overcrowding and things not being in line and stuff like that. Not only that, my teeth are not super white. They are different shapes. So for example, these teeth are on either side of my front teeth are actually 2 different shapes. It's bizarre. I do have a little bit of what I think is called mottling on my front 2 teeth, which just means I get those little white kind of patches. I believe that's as a result of an accident I had when I was a child. I'm not really sure. You can either get it from head trauma or you can get it from things like antibiotics. So long story short, I've always hated my teeth, right? I went to get braces when I was 15. It was going to be a fixed brace on the top. And I went to an orthodontist and I had my first x-ray. And it was quite interesting what he found. So long story short, because I will tell you what it is, I did not get a fixed brace on the bottom teeth. So my bottom teeth have never been corrected. I did, however, have a fixed brace on the top of my teeth for I'm not sure. Maybe a year, maybe 18 months. I did not wear the retainer, so they kind of moved back. So I have sort of straight teeth, sort of really not. And that only accounts for the top because the bottom have just been untouched. It's always bothered me. And I think I didn't really go to the dentist very often because I just felt like I was a lost cause, if I'm honest. And I went to the dentist and had, I would say, major work done. Well, it's probably not major really. But when I was 24, I had minor cosmetics done and one tiny little filling as well. It's the only filling I have actually. And I felt a lot better. So what happened was, this tooth here in my mouth, you're not going to be able to see it yet. Again, I will show you on the x-ray because it's really obvious. This tooth here has always had like a divot out of it. It's never been a flat tooth. It's not decayed, it's just always been that way. It didn't form properly. It's also a totally different shape from this one. That was a problem for me. I had like this tooth here was very stumpy and it was like set back into the gum. It just, my whole smile was very wonky. So long story very short, I needed some palate correction done around my jaw because my mouth wasn't closing properly. I also grind my teeth. So this is like just an absolute plethora of issues that I have with my mouth. So I grind my teeth, I had uneven teeth, overcrowding was an issue as well, and general wonky teeth. So I went to get this work done. I had 2 composite veneers that people that watch me probably never knew. I had 2 composite veneers on the front of my teeth. I only had them removed, what are we in now? We're in January. I may have had them removed in like September, October, November time. I can't remember. Sometime around there, late last year. I don't think it's very obvious because I think someone would have said something. But they got removed in prep for Invisalign, right? So long story short, I had cosmetic work done. It's lasted way too long. The composite stained. It went really, really dark. So teeth whitening didn't really work for me. In the end, the composite just had to come off anyway. But even if I didn't get Invisalign, I'd probably get that touched up because once composite stains down, it won't lift back up. You can't whiten it. And I used to smoke. I used to drink a lot of things like Coca-Cola. So that kind of screwed with it a little bit. Fast forward to when I started my channel. Sorry, I know this is long. I've always hated my teeth, don't get me wrong, but I started to become very hyper aware of it once I started making YouTube videos, as you might be able to expect. So over a very long period of time, I've just hated them even more. And the cosmetic work I had done years ago really helped that for me, but it's kind of worn off a little bit. So I honestly thought, you know what, I'm never going to be happy unless I get these things just fixed. I'm just never going to be happy. On one side of my mouth, you might be able to see it here. Is it here or here? I can't remember which side it's on. This side, I have a slight snarl where my teeth go up a little bit. They're generally a bit wonky here. Don't worry about that. I'll explain that. They're just not straight. They're not terrible. Like when I speak, they're okay, but just, I'm really not happy at all. And I know I'm never going to be happy until I got them fixed. So why Invisalign? So I wanted to do Invisalign because honestly, it works for me really, 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 really well. It works for me in terms of just YouTube. There was no way I wanted another metal brace after having a fixed brace. That is not cool with me. I do work for myself now. I quit my job about a year ago and I've really saved up and been able to afford this. And I really want to put energy this year into making myself just look and feel better. So that's what it's all about, as well as fixing some issues anyway. So for me, honestly, it's purely aesthetic. And if I'm totally honest with you, and I haven't heard anybody say this, but for me, Invisalign feels a little bit more cosmetic. Like it feels almost like a weird, I don't want to say a treat, but it just feels like a more positive thing doing it this way. I know that's really weird, but that's the main reason I wanted it done. The other reason I want it done is because when Invisalign is finished, when my teeth are straight, I'm not going to be happy with them still. And I know that for many reasons. One, I grind my teeth at the front. So they're actually like half the length that my teeth should be, for example. That's just damage over the years. My teeth are going to be still different shapes. The 2 teeth I mentioned here, they're different shapes. There's just so many things I want to correct. And the only thing that's going to correct that for me is veneers. Fast forward to when I went to this clinic, in Manchester actually, this cosmetic dental clinic. That's where I went. I didn't go to an NHS dentist because I'm in the UK. I went private cosmetic clinic. And I went there and I said, yo, I'm so unhappy. I'm unhappy with pretty much everything that I see before me. I'm happy with the color. I think they're too dark. I'm unhappy with the shape of them. I'm unhappy with the way that they sit. I'm unhappy with everything. I need to fix it. And long story very short, they basically said, look, we can't really continue this discussion until we've sorted out the alignment of your teeth. Because yes, we can put veneers on, but to get the best out of your veneers, we should do Invisalign, because then every single tooth is in its place and it's going to look great. I decided on Invisalign, by the way. The Smile Direct option wasn't offered to me, but for reasons, again, that are going to become very apparent in a moment, I needed dental assistance. I really do. This is a little bit more of a complex case. And even as I'm talking to you now, something could go wrong in the next 6 months, quite honestly. And I will tell you all about that. But it wasn't recommended to me. Even if it was recommended to me, I wouldn't go for it. So I haven't researched Smile Direct, but this is what I know as of recording this video. Correct me if I'm wrong. Smile Direct is cheaper, and Smile Direct doesn't involve dental assistance. By that, I mean you don't have to go to a dentist. You do your scans or your impressions at home or whatever, then you get given, all your trays that you wear, and that's kind of it. That was never going to be an option for me. Personally, if I'm going to pay this amount of money, which I'll get into in a second, I want and need that level of assistance and just a watchful eye over my mouth for reasons I'm about to get into. The cost of mine was, let me just check because I do actually still have it written down. It was around about 4,000. Let me check because I still have my my paperwork. My overall cost of treatment was 4,450. Now, that does include a few things. For me, that includes all of my checkup appointments throughout, where I think I go back every 6 weeks or so because I get trays given to me, which I will get into. It covers that. It covered a hygiene appointment. It covered, obviously, all my scans being done, which I will go into. It covers, and I will get into this as well. There's so much to get into. Can you believe it? It also includes a clinical check, which I believe is the dentist going backwards and forwards with Invisalign, which is another reason why I would pick it over Smile Direct. It covers a few things. It covers the retainer at the end, I think, because that's a thing you've got to do. I also get fitted, when this is finished, I think I get fitted a little piece of wire behind my front teeth, basically, top and bottom. And it covers whitening as well, which I think the whitening on its own is about £600, and that will happen at the end. So it does cover quite a bit. It did have, when I paid for this, you could either do it in 12 months, which would cost around about £370, 18 months, which is about £247 a month, or 24 months, which was £185.41 a month. Full disclosure, I'm not sponsored in any way by my dental clinic. I paid for all this myself, but I am doing it on finance. So I'm actually doing it over 24 months, and that's because it's 0%. So if you want this done, check with your dentist, because there might be some really great payment options, because there was for me. I didn't actually have the funds to pay for it all outright, so I had to do that anyway. But to be honest, with 0%, you may as well do that anyway, unless you're a person that just likes just paying something in one go. But don't let the cost put you off. There is an option to pay for it monthly and drag it out. So at least inquire if you're looking to get it done. Right. Let's get into my actual teeth. Again, I know this is long, but it's so relevant. And I think if you want Invisalign and you want to look at my review, you need to understand where I'm coming from, because I'm a worse case, okay? So if you really don't care about my setup, so to speak, just skip it through. Honestly, just skip it through. So I'm looking at my laptop down here. I have here in front of me my x-ray, and I'm going to put it on the screen for you now, and I'm just going to talk to you about it. So I'm going to look and talk to you about it. So what you'll see in front of you is an x-ray of my teeth. So what you're looking at is the front two teeth in the middle there, and the x-ray kind of just like flattens it all out, because the machine kind of goes around like this. So it'll probably scan from left to right. So it'll just do that and flatten it all out. So that's what you're seeing. You may notice straight away there's something a little bit odd about it. And you'd be right. So you can see generally, before I get into that, my top row of teeth there, they look okay. They're a bit squished, admittedly. There is some work there on what looks like a premolar, that tiny little filling I had. It was really a tiny little filling. I think I had a pit or something and it got filled, so that's okay. Apart from that, I haven't really had any work done, which I actually am quite proud of, because my diet used to be terrible and I used to drink Coca-Cola all the time. So I'm actually really proud of that. You will see on your screen, looking at it to the right-hand side of my front tooth, you'll see a tooth there and it looks a bit odd. There's like a whiter patch and a little hole. That whiter patch is composite resin that's been put on to smooth it over. As I said, it's lumpy and bumpy. It's got a chink out of it. And I think the little hole is literally a hole, but it's not decay. It's just, my tooth just kind of came out like that. So that's really weird. Apart from that, top teeth, though crooked as hell, I think they look okay. Bottom teeth, now then. Obviously the bottom teeth are crooked. Can I draw your attention, please, to the front at the bottom? Not that I think I need to. So I'm going to circle this so it's easy to show you, but you will see a gloriously huge mass pointing kind of upwards and a really tiny tooth near it. I'll tell you what that is, shall I? So on the bottom of my teeth here, I have missing a lower canine. It never came through. I don't know why it never came through. It never came through. This is why I didn't get fixed braces on the bottom of my teeth. This is why they've never been touched until literally my tender age of 31, okay? So I have that at the back of my mouth. It's not in the front there. It's behind my teeth, right? This is why what I need to tell you is important. It's behind my teeth. So on top of that, you can see a little tiny tooth. That is my baby tooth that didn't drop out. That's a baby canine. So the result you get there is that there is now a tooth dangerously close to my bottom teeth, behind my bottom teeth. You feel me? I knew about this, and when I had my consultation done to get Invisalign, I told them, look, you're going to have to x-ray me. I know there is something there. When my dentist was examining me and just taking, account of the teeth that I've got, because I had actually had teeth removed when I was younger back here to help with the overcrowding, I said, look, no, you can feel it. You can't, but if I were to put my finger behind my front teeth, I can feel a lump, literally about, that big, the size of that tooth. I can feel it in my mouth. And honestly, I saw her face when she touched this. Her face widened in the dentist. She was not happy. I was like, look, you need to x-ray me. So I think within a couple of days of that initial consultation, as soon as I knew I was going to get Invisalign anyway, I was sent for an x-ray at a separate place because this place doesn't do x-rays. So, and this is the x-ray I got back from that. So this is very up to date. But honestly, this isn't much different from the one I had when I was 15 and the orthodontist saw it. The reason I didn't get fixed braces back then was because the orthodontist basically said, yo, if we try and move this tooth, what could happen is it could damage all the nerves on the bottom teeth and they could fall out. I was like, okay, let's not touch it. Let's not touch it, because they never used to bother me with my bottom teeth. They do now. Same thing again when I went for my minor cosmetics done when I was 24. They took an x-ray then because I told them to, because I know the score. Same thing again. They were like, do you want to do anything with your bottom teeth? I was like, no, let's leave them alone. So my scan of my teeth were taken at the same time. Okay. So to take your scan for Invisalign, it is so clever. You do not have to put those ugly big molds in your mouth. The dentist will actually go around with this big wand and put it around your teeth. And honestly, if you go and you have Invisalign done, or you've had it done and you know what I'm talking about, it's really something to witness, right? It's just genius. I cannot fathom how this software does it, but it takes a total scan of your mouth. That got done and it got sent off to Invisalign, which I'll get into. But during that time, this x-ray comes back, right? So my dentist has a little look, probably has an internal freak out, I imagine, because this is quite scary to look at. I would imagine for a dentist. Let me know down below if you're a dentist. She didn't seem very happy about it though. I got a call from kind of, I don't know what you call it, like a treatment manager, so not my actual dentist, but the young lady in charge of my treatment plan. She rang me and she was like, yo, got the x-rays. Have you seen these x-rays before? And I was like, yeah, I know what's there. They're like, yeah. She didn't even know what to say on the phone, but long story short, she said there are two options here. She said you can either not do anything with your bottom teeth, surprise, surprise, or there's got to be a tooth that comes out. And I nearly lost it on the phone because I'm very needle phobic. Long story short, it wasn't that tooth that's got to come out, it's that baby tooth there, which now explains the gap that I have. It's funny because when I do my videos on my main channel, I've had so many comments over the past year saying, are you going to do something about your missing tooth? Because it was so short that it looked missing when I talked because it was lower than the others. You can kind of see it on the image, kind of, not really. So people thought I had a missing tooth anyway. So this really hasn't changed anything for people. I don't think people really noticed. I think one person noticed last week, and it wouldn't really bother me anyway, but I knew that had to come out, which brings us to getting it done. So long story short, once we knew we were taking that tooth out, my dentist had to go back to Invisalign and approve the plan, right? So what Invisalign will do, and I will show you this, they send you a simulation of what your teeth are going to look like when Invisalign is done. I have one here on my computer. I will just overlay it over me talking, but you can see here, this is what Invisalign is actually going to do. These are my teeth at the minute. No, they don't look very hot. Believe me, the bite is far worse because obviously Invisalign is also going to correct my grinding a little bit and my overbite a little bit as well. But my palate is all over the place. It's kind of collapsed due to having extractions and stuff. Apparently they don't do that anymore. Apparently dentists will refrain from doing extractions on younger adolescent children because that's not really the way to do it. You shouldn't necessarily be pulling teeth out to make things fit. But anyway, this simulation is going to basically run over the 28 weeks. You can view what your teeth look like on a certain week, so a certain tray, and it shows you what's going to happen to your teeth. The only limitation with this software, I know, is it doesn't account for any additional wear of the teeth, which I don't think there will be because Invisalign stops that. And it doesn't account for the change in wear or the change in shape of your gums when your teeth move. Everyone will know this in life. If you've had a new tooth come in, the gum will eventually wear and your teeth will straighten and everything else with just general eating, general wear. So it doesn't simulate that. So the final result is good, but it's not perfect. But I knew that anyway, because as you can definitely see from this diagram, my teeth are different shapes. The only thing I really want to highlight here is if I go to week 1 when I've got no tooth there, all the way to the end, you can see that initially my 2 front teeth kind of meet in the middle. They won't do at the end of this because I have a missing canine. There's nothing to replace it. So we kind of have to fake straight teeth on the bottom, right? It's so weird. This is like such a different case from anybody else's. I totally get that. At the end, I will have a little tooth crossing over my 2 front teeth. And honestly, I don't think it's going to be very noticeable. I really don't, because when I talk, people don't really see my bottom teeth. We'll see how that goes, but really there isn't any other option. The only risk I've been warned about prior to this treatment is that something is going to have to happen if these teeth move in the front and it pushes my bottom tooth up, because that's probably going to be a surgical removal. I'm dreading that. I hope it doesn't happen, but it might. But that is the plan. That is why it's a bit different to everyone else's, and I need to explain that because along with my Invisalign, I had an extraction, and that's not necessarily typical. I know that is the most long-winded explanation possible, but I feel it was really important, and if you are sat here binging Invisalign videos, then at least that gave you a different perspective anyway on a different kind of candidate for Invisalign. So that's me anyway. So as I mentioned before, the goal is to get these things straight before veneers start. I'm not going to go into any of that because that's probably something I speak about when I've had them done or before I have them done or something like that much later down on the line on the channel. So if you're interested for any reason in following my little journey here, then please feel free to subscribe, and I will probably do an update halfway through this treatment, at the end of the treatment, and then after my veneers. From consultation to the fitting of the Invisalign was very slick. I had an initial appointment to be like, yo, this is what we can do for you. You need Invisalign. Then I decided I wanted the treatment. Then I came back for the scans and everything else. Then I had a hygiene appointment as well because I hadn't been to the hygienist in years, so I had that done, and I was sent off the x-ray. In that time, my dentist went backwards and forwards with Invisalign to correct the appearance of the final result, and your dentist can do that, and I was offered the chance to approve the simulation that you saw before. So I knew kind of how my teeth were going to be at the end, and while I'm not happy with them, I know that I'm not happy with them because of the shape and everything else. It's not the alignment I'm unhappy with. So I got to approve that. In preparation for Invisalign, I did a few things for my health, and I'm still doing it now. I cut all fizzy drinks because you can only drink water with these. I cut anything, more or less anything coloured as well. I would honestly say that, apart from 1 cup of tea in the morning. I've done some other things. I've actually undergone colonics and all sorts of things. That's not related to my teeth, but it's part of my little health journey. If anybody wants to know anything about colonics, I don't think it should be a weird thing to talk about personally. I really don't. But if anyone wants to know anything about that, please leave a comment down below, and I'll totally do a video on what I've been doing, because I would go as far as say my life is changed. My life is very different. So anyway, I approved everything. We've gone through the x-ray. We know all the background. We've gone through all the consultations. I know what's going to happen. I've got the treatment plan. I'm paying for it. I've had all the hygiene. We're good to go. It is fitting day. I will not get into details because I don't think you guys probably want that, but I had my extraction done first. I was very nervous, very terrified. The dentist numbed me up good, and I did not feel one little thing. She did numbing in a very cool way that I've never seen numbing done before. But anyway, I had that taken out. I think it was now time to fit on the I call them bumpies. They're not, they're attachments on my teeth, okay? So if you don't know what attachments are, I'll try and show you. Hopefully the camera won't blow out. There. You can see little bumpies on my teeth. They're attachments. And what happens is, so the dentist will clean around your teeth with, air and water, totally painless, literally. Remember, I only had numbing because of my situation. I needed an extraction. I didn't have anything up here. I just had numbing here. And they stick on some sort of glue onto your teeth, and they get the first Invisalign tray, which you won't see. I think that's tray 0. There must be a tray 0. And that tray actually has all of the attachments in it. They're already in. I always wondered how they got the attachments in the right place. It's because they're already in the Invisalign tray. So they put the glue on your teeth, they fit the guard around your mouth with all the attachments in, so it looks like Invisalign, but it's just got the little blobs in. And then they will go around with a light and set it. And that's basically it. That was painless. It was very fast. The only thing that had to happen, I think I got it clipped on, she clipped it off, and then I had to have what is called, I think it's called IPR. And that basically means you have your teeth filed down a little bit. Now, I don't want anybody to panic, honestly. By that, I mean some of the gaps in between my teeth needed to just have a little file in between them so that the teeth could move properly. You won't see gaps in your teeth if you have to have it done. I don't want anybody to be worried about that. Trust me, I'm a person that hyper worries about these things. And I'm telling you, it's nothing to worry about. It doesn't hurt at all. It just feels weird. That's the best way I can put it. It just feels weird. It's a weird sensation. It's uncomfortable in a mental way. It's not uncomfortable in a physical way. I cannot describe it. It just feels really weird. But I had that done, I think, in between my teeth, and I think on either side of this one. I don't know if I had it done on the bottom. When everything was finished, she explained a few things to me. She said, wear them for 22 hours a day, take them out to eat, do not eat with them in, don't drink staining stuff, blah, 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 blah. All of that. She gave me a little pack, which I will show you in just a second. Now, I didn't leave wearing mine, and I chose not to because of the extraction, because I had a very traumatic morning because I'm very needle phobic, but I just didn't want them in yet. And I think I had the appointment at 9:30 in the morning, and I said, look, can I please go home and not bleed anymore? I don't want to bleed into an Invisalign tray. Imagine, that's gross. So I went home. I think I had a bit of a nap on the couch. I just chilled out all day. I ate later, and I'm going to talk about that because it's very useful what I ate, because you need to change what you eat slightly. I have a video that I'm about to show you of me on that couch looking terrible, right? Really terrible. My lips are all chapped. They still are now. I haven't recovered from that dental appointment because your lips get really dry. Totally recommend balming up after you've been. I'm going to show you a video of basically a couple of hours after I'd had it done. If you're squeamish about blood, there isn't really blood, but there is obviously a very dark spot in my gum where the extraction is there. So I'll leave a timestamp here if you just do not want to see that, and you can just skip to the bit after that. So I'll show you that now. So originally when I was going to do this video, I planned to check in the night before on how I was feeling, check in immediately after the Invisalign fitting, and then check in, in the hours following. I don't think I'm going to do that. You probably already know this as of watching this. But just to give you my live thoughts now on the process this morning. So I don't have them in right now. As you can see, I've got a tooth missing here. I can't feel this side of my face still. I'm just looking in the viewfinder. I have a tooth missing at the bottom, and then I have the fittings all along my teeth, but no Invisalign in yet. They fitted it to make sure it fit. They got me to basically see if I could pop it in and out, and then they gave it to me in a little bag, and then I've left. I'm here on the sofa all day to recover, because I just don't do well with this kind of thing. I don't do very well with needles, but I'm going to be putting that in tonight. I'm going to have something to eat later on. It's probably, I think it's maybe about 1 o'clock now. I'm going to wait till maybe 8 o'clock and then have something to eat. I'm thinking fish, because I feel like that's going to be easy to eat. Then I'm going to brush my teeth, and then I'm going to put Invisalign in properly and then wear through that. But it was just to give you my live kind of thoughts. Obviously, I don't look great. This side of my face is just like, it doesn't do anything. But yeah, I when they were fitted very briefly, I didn't feel any tightness or anything. I actually felt fine. A lot of people say that it's very, very tight when it's fitted, but I didn't really feel that. Maybe that takes a little bit of a while to set in. I will find out, I guess. But these are my live thoughts. It's probably the only time I'm going to check in today, just to let you know what's happened. I've got all these little attachments glued on my teeth. Some teeth, I think this front tooth here has 2 glued on. This one has none. One here has 1, then the one here has 2. It really kind of varies. Yeah, that's basically my thoughts so far. I'm not in any pain, I'm not in any discomfort, but that's probably because I'm not wearing the Invisalign, so we'll see how that goes. Fingers really, really crossed. So that was me, basically. That was me most of the day. I didn't even touch my teeth till later on, but I had some food later that day. I had some fish, I had some salmon, and I tell you something about fish. Excellent thing to eat if you can eat fish after this sort of treatment, because it's meat still and it just flakes away, and it was just the nicest thing to eat, because honestly, I think my teeth didn't really hurt. I didn't feel any pressure on them because I didn't have the Invisalign in, but due to my extraction and some of the anesthetic kind of wearing off a little bit, it was just a bit tender. So I ate fish because I couldn't really open my jaw very much because it was bruised. So that was a really good thing to eat. I then put them in later that night. But what I will do is I'll show you basically what she gave me, okay? I don't have it all because I forgot the box it came in, but the Invisalign kit came in a little box. Where is it? Oh, it's down here. Hang on. You don't need to know about the box. It was just a presentation box. You may have seen them on YouTube anyway, but I actually keep my Invisalign stuff in here. This is a little package that came with Invisalign that your dentist will probably give you. And in it, you've got basically this little case. This keeps your Invisalign in it. It might be wet in here, but I promise it's fresh water. You get this here. This is what your trays stay in. I like it. It's very sleek. Fits into many bags, by the way. And this thing here is called a Chewy. Again, you may have seen it, you may not have seen it. This is basically when you pop your Invisalign in, you have to chew like that. Not hard, but just chew on your Chewy to make sure that all the attachments are clicked into place properly, because you should be hearing clicks when you slide it in. I'm not going to take my Invisalign out today, by the way, because it's actually still quite difficult for me. You get in the box with the Invisalign tray with this black thing here, you do get some kind of cleaning tabs. They're like denture cleaning tabs. Now, my dentist straight up told me that basically they were just crap. They weren't very good at all. So my dentist actually told me not to bother using them. I haven't heard anybody else say that on YouTube about theirs, but that's what my dentist said to me. They were like, look, they're not very good. Don't bother. Just get yourself some. I think she might have said Effident or something. This is Steradent. I used this for the first time last night. I'd like to use it more often because it really works, by the way. You just drop your retainers in this stuff. This stuff happens to turn blue. Very cool. And it cleans your teeth. So if you're eating a meal and you want to clean your retainers, because you have to take them out, then drop it into a glass with this. Very helpful. There is some things, I'll quickly go into it now, about the things I actually have to carry around with me. I don't know where my mouthwash went. That's gone walkabouts. But I did have a small bottle of mouthwash. I have some Sensodyne toothpaste that's probably going to last a year. I have my floss, which is very important as well. This is Oral-B satin tape. I prefer that to the string a lot. And then I have this. And I really want to talk about this before I show you the aligners. Nobody talks about these. I had to find out about these, okay? You're probably going to find when you get Invisalign fitted, if that's what you want to do, you're going to have some trouble getting those things off, especially for me. And for me, I think it's my back molars at the top. I don't even have attachments there, and it was difficult for me to get it off because you're supposed to pop, the top and then the middle on each set to get them off. I do not recommend doing it one side to the other. One, it's painful. Two, you put stress on your retainer and you risk breaking it. But anyway, I've just filed them down to kind of account for it, and if it's going to focus on my nails there. But I found my nails right down, but they were much longer the other day. It was really difficult for me to get this out. But I've used one of these. This is called, I'll put the name on the screen of what it's called, but it's a little clicky thing that helps you remove your retainers. And whether you're male or female, doesn't matter. If you have long nails or you just struggle, this is the tool for you. I'm telling you. I think I paid $5.99 for a set of these on Amazon, and they come in different colors, and they are unbelievable. I can't go anywhere without one now. On to what you get. I got 6 weeks worth of trays because I'm going to go back in 6 weeks. So the trays come in a little package like this. It has my name on it. It has, I don't think that's my dentist. That's somebody else. Maybe it's the person that assigned my Invisalign. And it says Invisalign System Comprehensive Attachments and IPR. IPR, if you see it on your trays, that means filing, I think. So you need filing for this to fit. So that makes sense now as to why she did the filing in one go. She did it to cover the 6 weeks. I get that now. She told me that more filing down would be due in, the next time I went back, but that's in 6 weeks' time. So your trays come in sheets like this. Sorry, it might be a bit blown out and the camera is desperate to focus on my face, but that is what they look like. And if I flip them over, you will see there. That's what they look like. I'll try and show you that. Sorry, it really is blowing out. Try and fix that a bit. There. You see that? Those are the Invisalign in the trays. If you look really closely, you can actually see the changes in the tooth. Like I can see my gap getting smaller because that's kind of the first port of call. But that's what I got anyway. So I change these once a week. My change day, because I got my Invisalign fitted on a Tuesday. My change day is Tuesday. Today is Monday. So I can't really tell you what change day is like. So I'm going to now tell you about my experience of essentially a week of wear of these things. Generally speaking, because of some of the issues I have in my mouth, Invisalign has made me feel more comfortable and more confident. I know that sounds like a sponsor. It's not. I'm not sponsored by Invisalign at all. I paid for this myself. It's got nothing to do with it. I genuinely feel more confident with them in. Now, that is just me personally. I know a lot of people are going to be bothered, maybe, or at least people say they are anyway, by the attachments on your teeth because they're visible. Because this thing isn't invisible, but for me, I quite like it because I have a smile here that is quite gappy, like this. And I feel like it just takes the edge off it, because that's another thing Invisalign is going to fix. It's going to widen my palate right out. So for me, it feels better. I think they almost look a bit whiter, and that is because you can't see it on these trays, but the trays are actually a little bit cloudy. They're not totally clear. So it kind of helps even the color a little bit, because my teeth do have a tiny little bit of mottling on them. It is slight, but it's enough to really piss me off, put it that way. So I've found personally, I feel more confident with them in. I genuinely do. I also feel it's like a reminder that I'm doing this thing to transform my smile, and that makes me really happy. Even though it's slightly irritating, I'm pretty happy about it. So overall, I've had a bit of a confidence boost, I would say, in that respect. The downside of it, and I've been able to fix this pretty quickly, and I know a few people on YouTube have mentioned this before, it can, I don't want to say it cuts you up because it doesn't, but sometimes the edges of the tray are a little bit sharp. And you will notice it when you put in your tray. You feel it within the first 20 minutes. If that happens, work out where it is that's causing you a little bit of grief. Take your Invisalign out and very gently, take an emery board. I don't have one to hand, but take an emery board or a nail file and just gently go over that edge. Take real care to not obviously alter the shape. Don't scrub it. Just honestly, a light hand will just get that edge really round. I've had to do that twice. One, I had like a little nodule on the inside of my Invisalign at the top. I think just where I left the mold, there was like a tiny little dollop of plastic. So I took that off. And then at the very back of mine, because I think I don't have an attachment, it's ever so slightly wobbly at the back up here. And that's created a little bit of a flap in my mouth because I haven't fixed it quick enough. Essentially, I only fixed it last night. But I filed the back of that as well, just to take, if the edge of the plastic is like this, I just made it a little bit more like this. And as I say, it takes seconds. It's a very light hand, so do not start grinding down your Invisalign. But you can make it more comfortable. Don't just sit and suffer. You can totally fix it. So I guess that is a negative aspect, but it is fixable. It's not something you may not have heard before if you have watched several of these videos. If you haven't, then obviously it's not something to be worried about. Now, the next one is something that I've noticed more than other people have, and that is the lisp. Okay, so when I'm talking now, I can really hear a lisp, but other people can't really seem to hear much of a difference, and I find that really interesting. Now, I know when you get Invisalign in, it will feel lispy, and what I got told, because I binged loads of videos before I went, you get told that it goes away in time, and you learn how to manipulate your tongue slightly differently when you enunciate to get round it and just sharpen up those S sounds a little bit more. I knew it would go away anyway. Perhaps I've got better at it, but I put my Invisalign in and people couldn't hear it from the offset. They couldn't really hear much of a lisp, so that could just be me. I don't know. But just know that it can definitely decrease. And I think it always sounds worse in your head because I hear a lisp, but other people don't. And if you want proof of that, honestly, the video I did on my channel last week, I said, something is different. I will explain just in case someone saw the tooth missing. No one said you sound lispy. I didn't tell people what I'd done in the last video, okay? I didn't actually say I'd got Invisalign. Some people that have come from my Instagram, you already knew. But I didn't tell people. I just said something is different here. If I'm talking differently, I'll explain it. No one guessed. I think one person guessed Invisalign. One person. Someone said my lips were bigger. Cool. They aren't. Someone said, oh, you're missing a tooth. So I guess they're half right there because when I talk a certain way, you can see it. Obviously, that's going to close up in time. It doesn't bother me too much. It's a necessary evil. But no one guessed about the lisp. So honestly, I don't think it's something to worry about too much. And if you're really wondering how the lisp has affected me, you could either look at an older video on this channel, because I think I have 2 videos to date, or you can look at some of my main channel videos and you'll hear whether there is a lisp or not. I'm already quite soft-spoken anyway, I think, but I don't think it's that obvious. I didn't really notice it when I was editing last week, so I don't know. I think it sounds worse in your head than it does for other people. And I haven't heard anybody say that, but the feedback I've had, that's kind of what I'm getting from that. For me, another positive, and a lot of people say this, and I think it is true, but honestly, it ends up feeling more comfortable and more normal to have these things, you know, your retainers in than you do having them out. Honestly, I'm not kidding. I take mine out to eat. They just feel a bit weird, which I'll get into. But when I pop them back in, I feel good. Like, I feel comfortable. I feel good. It feels right. Because if you're wearing these things 22 hours a day, you do get used to it. It becomes the norm, as with anything. So don't be too worried about it. First couple of days, you really know they're there. I mean, I know they're there now, just because I think mine don't quite fit as well around here. But generally speaking, you get used to it. And honestly, it feels better to have them in. Because without them in, your teeth are rough as hell, right? They really are. If you've got attachments up front, you'll know about it. But with them in, they go back to feeling like your teeth again, but bumpy. And it's totally different. It might sound weird, but the glue they use to put on it is quite rough. And you really feel it. And the attachments with no cover on them are quite sharp. So it genuinely feels better to have them in. Honestly, it really does. Now I'm going to go into the eating thing. I've got a couple of points on eating. The first is I've found that eating fish is great. I haven't eaten anything very, very hard. I've got a little bit more issue eating than other people because I have had an extraction. I'm still eating on this side of my mouth because I'm just hypersensitive about something stabbing me in the gum. Not everyone will have that. I'm sure that's fine. I haven't had any problems. I haven't eaten anything hard, but I wouldn't anyway. I tend not to. So for me, fish, just going to call it out. Fish was amazing for me over the past week. I'm not saying you have to change your diet. I just think you're going to find that you maybe do when you adjust to it. I mean, don't crack down a jawbreaker or anything like that, but generally I don't think your diet has to change. I think it helps. I'm saying this at the beginning of treatment though, so in 3 months' time I might say something different. Generally though, that's helped me. Fish, stuff like that's been a godsend. I've had chocolate recently and it was okay. I think on Invisalign day, I wanted like one last thing of freedom before I put them in. And I had some Smarties and I had to just put one in at a time and just chew on it. It was just really shit. But generally, I haven't noticed much difference. I just know that it's, oh my God, it must be really windy. I haven't noticed much difference. I've just noticed that I'm preferring soft foods, AG, fish at the minute. Really, really good. When you eat, it's going to feel weird. Okay, it really is going to feel weird, but you get used to it. You're going to feel like when you eat, if you have a lot of attachments on the front of your teeth, you're going to feel like stuff is getting all up in your grill. You're going to feel like you've got food all over. And honestly, I was eating, even though I'm in the privacy of my own home, if I'm around someone, I just feel like I'm going to look terrible and I'm just going to be wearing all my food. That has never happened yet, right? It just hasn't happened. I haven't really got anything stuck all in there. Like, it's hard to explain, but if you've got Invisalign, you're adjusting to it, you will know what I mean. It just feels like this stuff is just getting stuck in everything. It really doesn't. It really, really doesn't. Not for me anyway, from my own personal experience. So again, it feels worse than it is. It's not that bad. I'm doing this in the middle of COVID right now, so I haven't had a restaurant experience yet. But I imagine it's not going to be too bad, to be honest, if I'm even able to go to a restaurant in all of this. Now then, the 2-hour thing. So let me tell you, that fills up fast. I don't know if I'm the first person to say that or not, but that fills up really fast. Now, I do use an app for this on my phone. It's called TrayMinder. Not the best app in the world, but you can take pictures of your teeth. You can record when your Invisalign, that tray went in, and it will tell you, it'll give you reminders on when to change your trays. There's a few things you can do, and when you're wearing them and when you're not wearing them, you can tap it in the app, and you can keep track of how long they've been out for. For example, I've had mine out today for, if you can see that there, for around about 30 minutes I've had them out for. So I've got about an hour and a half left. That's really handy. Honestly, time it. You wouldn't believe how quickly half an hour goes by. That half an hour this morning, I included cleaning my teeth before they went back in because it's taken me ages in a minute. That was just a cup of tea this morning, and that was half an hour. I even waited for it to cool down as well. So I want to let you know that fills up. Please, please, please stick to it. If you don't, your teeth can move back, and they will, and you paid all that money. Why would you want to do that? Do you know what I mean? Just honestly stick it out. It's going to be worth it. I'm telling you this at the beginning of my treatment, but I honestly believe it will be worth it. So stick to your 22 hours. Always wear them. Always clean them. For cleaning, as I mentioned before, I have been using these, or I have been brushing them every time before I put them back in. I don't really do it when I take them out because I'm so desperate to eat by that point, but I brush them and I put them back in. So keep them clean, because if you think about it, you don't want anything sat on your teeth, because normally your saliva can get rid of that if you've got sugar or something on them. With this, you're literally just pushing it to your teeth. You're taking an acid bath is what you're doing. I know it sounds awful. Let it sound awful. Let that motivate you to always brush your teeth after you've eaten. Straight away, just go and do it. So I do that every time. It does take a while. I brush my teeth and I will either then floss or mouthwash or the other way around, depending on if I feel like I've dislodged anything by flossing or whatever. And I pop them back in. I use my chewy that's in here that's rattling around and I'm set. I'm good. I only drink water while they're in. And I will honestly say this, I'm not much of a snacker. But if I'm driving past a McDonald's, I'll probably order something. Do you get what I'm saying? I can't do that anymore. And honestly, I've lost weight since even having Invisalign in. I'm not promoting that as part of Invisalign. It's just something positive for me that I've noticed. And it's not really about the weight loss. It's just generally being healthier because I find snacks for me are very fast food. So I haven't had any of that. And honestly, I'm feeling great. So that is definitely something that happens. I know a lot of people have said this before. You feel like you're going to snack and then you have to weigh it up. You have to think, oh my God, is it worth it? And for me, I'm very lazy. No, it ain't. So I haven't really snacked. And that's been a huge, huge positive thing for me, to be honest. Before I get into pain, I want to quickly repeat what I said about this wonderful little attachment. Getting them in and out when you first get them done is a pain in the A. Honestly, it is. It was virtually impossible for me. I just couldn't get my little fingers up in there. When I first had this thing fitted, this side of my mouth, I couldn't get it off. I could not get it off. This side was okay. I could pop it. Not this side. And what I did for half the week, luckily my dentist will not be watching this, but I had to remove it from one side to the other and it sucked. It caused quite a lot of pain because I had 2 attachments on this front tooth. It was just not pleasant. Not only that, but it causes a lot of stress on your tray. Do not do it. Honestly, try and pop it. If you have to peel it off that way for the first couple of days till you find one of these, great. Make it, a minimum. But if you can get one of these things, get one. As I say, I paid $5.99. They came in loads of pretty colors. So you can put one in your handbag or one in your work bag or one in your pocket, however you're doing this. You can have one at work. You can have one at home. You can have one by your bedside. You could have a spare one somewhere. Always, always, always use one of these if you struggle. Honestly, it's great, especially if you've got long nails. Because honestly, for me, when I had that, I still have it, the little pocket where it's been getting irritated at the back, the last thing you want to do is put your finger in there if you've got a long nail to get that out. It'll just be very uncomfortable. So I honestly recommend these. And again, I just don't see anybody talking about these at all. I really don't. If you haven't seen it, I'll hold it just in front of my top there, like that. You can see that it has a little hook on it. Don't go super hard with it. Just be gentle. If you haven't used a lot of force, stop and just find a different place to hook it. I'm kind of learning on the best places to unhinge mine, but it does get easier. And obviously throughout the week that you wear it, if you change yours weekly or if you change yours monthly, towards the end of a tray, it's gonna get a bit easier to come in and out anyway. So you will get the hang of it. It can be, or at least it was for me, I don't want to say panicky, but you get frustrated very, very fast when you can't get them out. You'll get them out. Honestly, you will. Just relax, you'll get them out. I say this because I was just getting really wound up about it, hence I bought one of these. But just be gentle with your trays. Should you break a tray, I'm pretty sure you should either move on to the next tray, although maybe not if you've just started one. Call your dentist. Honestly, call your dentist. Maybe there's spares. I don't actually know. But don't do nothing if you've broken a tray. The last thing I want to talk about, which unfortunately was probably a lot of people's first question, and that is pain. Have I had any pain? Now then, honestly, this is just my experience. I don't typically have teeth that sensitive as a standard. I have one tooth over here that's notoriously sensitive. That's the one with the chink out of it. It's just a nightmare, that tooth. But I haven't had any pain. And when I say any pain, I mean any pain. I haven't had any pain at all. And I was kind of confused, right? For a while I thought, because I had an extraction, I thought my dentist had given me the tray that she'd fitted the Invisalign with, right? The one with the attachments on. Because I didn't feel anything in my mouth. They felt a little bit tender when I took out the retainers, but generally I felt fine. And I honestly thought that my dentist had given me that tray to wear to get used to it while I healed up from my extraction, right? That's not the case. My teeth have been moving. So I'm a little bit shocked because everyone says there is pain when you change your trays. And I'm not just saying this. I haven't had any. I did change my tray. Well, in this case, I put my tray in for the first time on a nighttime before I went to bed. So maybe I slept through it. But even then, that's with no pain relief. I didn't feel anything the next day or anything. So I'm less than a week in, but technically I should be over the worst of it. I haven't felt anything. Now, each tray might be different. Perfectly willing to accept that. But so far, no. I get tenderness. Sometimes when I take them off, they feel a bit tender because they've now got nothing to like just hold them. But generally, no. I had slight sensitivity, I guess, on one of these bottom ones. And it was very brief and fleeting for like an hour. It's a kind of sensitivity where if you breathe, you feel it. It was not pleasant, but that's literally it. It wasn't pain. It was just that horrible, hopefully you've never had it before, it's awful. Just a horrible sensitive feeling. But that's it. Literally. I've had nothing. So far my experience has been very positive. The last thing I want to say is if you're thinking about getting Invisalign and this video happens to be, a couple of weeks old for you, like, you're not watching this 2 years in the future when I've probably completed all my work. If you're watching this now, my advice, if you want to get Invisalign based on my short-term experience, is go for it. No time like the present. And I couldn't mean that more than what I mean it right now. And when I say that, it's because look at the situation we're in, okay? All the annoyingness of going out, because if you go to a restaurant, you have to take it out, you have to brush your teeth, you have to do all that, and brushing your teeth in, restaurant bathrooms, all that horrible stuff. All of that is removed at the minute, right? You sat at home. So if you're not feeling pleasant about this in any way, shape, or form, why not start now? I don't know. I feel like the present situation is probably going to be around for 6 months, no problem. Like, I honestly think I might not have to experience the annoyance of having to do these things in a restaurant because they might not be open yet. So if you really, really want Invisalign, I honestly think there is no time like the present, because if you're genuinely worried about how this is going to affect how you look and everything else, no one's going to see it on Zoom, I guarantee it, because you can't really see it now, I assume. Not really. So I would do it now. I would honestly get the ball rolling now. And for me, at least in the UK, dentists are open, it's medical, you can have it done. So there shouldn't be any problem there. At least go and see. Because I think a lot of places will give you a free consultation. I think my dentist, which by the way, I haven't mentioned it, this is the pack that they gave me all my stuff in. My dentist in Manchester is Rue Dental. Unbelievable place if you're local to Manchester and you're thinking about this. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Not only that, but my dentist is actually wearing Invisalign, so it's even better. She gets to answer everything. That's really cool as well. Great place. Totally recommend it. They're not paying me to say that. They don't even know, I think, that I do YouTube videos, but great place. But I think for me, I had to pay to have a consultation anyway, because it was overall teeth checking. I think that might have been about £75. Was it 75 or was it less? I'm not sure, but that's just my situation. But a lot of places you can have free consultations. I think my dentist at the minute might be offering free digital consultations, so that might be over a webcam. I think you just have to send some photographs in. I'll link everything I'm on about down below. Hopefully I don't miss anything out as I'm editing. If I do, tell me, I'll put it in. But I think that's it. I just wanted to say that in light of the current situation, I know it's really negative, but use this time to transform yourself wherever you can. If that's something you really want to do, if it's something that's bothered you. In my case, it's bothered me mentally, and it's bothered me physically because I have some palate issues and everything else. So for me, it made total sense, but this is absolutely the right time for me to do this, along with a few things that I'm doing. So I'm changing my diet up. I'm doing this. I'm sorting out a lot of bodily things that I've got going on, as I mentioned before with colonics. Now is really the time to do it. So that is why I have done it. I hope this video wasn't too long. Of course it was, but I really wanted to really get into the nitty gritty of it. So if it was too long, I apologize. I'll try and make the next one shorter. The next video I do on this is probably going to be a 3-month update. So that'll be halfway through my treatment and hopefully it will look different. So I'll show you these now. Sorry, it's probably going to blow out with the light. There you go. So a little bit snarly there. Definitely snarly there. And that's the bottom with my missing tooth. You can see the Invisalign there. That's what it looks like. Like that. Hopefully I can say when we see each other again in 3 months that it looks different. So until then, I think that's all I've got to cover for today. I think I've gone through everything. I've literally got a laptop in front of me with notes because there was so much. If you've got any questions, please leave them down below. Any subscribers from my main channel and you're here to see what is up, I hope that wasn't too long. And if you've got any questions specifically to me on this, they're a bit more personal or something that you want to know, then let me know. I haven't been bullied into it or anything like that. I know I used to get some hate comments on my channel about this sort of stuff. That's never really bothered me, by the way. I should have said this at the beginning, but I've always had comments on my main channel telling me I'm ugly or my teeth are horrendous or something like that. It's never really bothered me because it's not something I don't already know. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just not. If they said something I didn't know about, maybe I'd be a bit more paranoid, but, you know. Yeah, that's it for this video. Thank you for sticking with me. I know it's really long, but I really want to make people aware of all of this stuff, because when I do my overall transformation at the end in like a year's time or something, you can really follow it along. And I think it's cool to document it because I really want to be able to look back on this. So thank you very much for watching this video. My next video, if anyone cares, is going to be on my skincare because I get asked about it all the time. So I'm going to be doing a video all on that, all the skincare products I use and just having a chat about them and why I recommend them, if there are dupes, all of that. So if you want to hear about that and you aren't subscribed, then please consider subscribing. Until then, have a great week, guys, and I shall see you very, very soon. Bye!